For a beginner, a garden may seem overwhelming, but even an advanced gardener, they only control the things they can. And for us here, we've been doing this about 5 or 6 years with the deep mulch, and I've tried to improve something every year. It didn't start out like this. From time to time, gardening can seem like a big struggle. Every Saturday for the last 4 years, I've been coming out here and sharing what's going on in your garden. Well, yesterday, it seemed like more of a struggle than ever. Technical difficulties. Unless you got a lot of help that's like-minded, coming out here every day, you might get a little help, but for the majority of the time, you're going to be out here by yourself. So just remember, you can only control what you can control. When we're talking about things you can control versus things you can't control, got to remember the basics. The ground wants to stay covered, and you can control that. Whether you're going to use a cover crop or whether you're going to use a deep mulch of some kind, if you keep your ground covered, you feed the life in the soil and they take care of your plants. Start where you're at, use what you've got. Thing is, we're not trying to compete for a blue ribbon. We're not trying to compete against anybody. If you're trying to compete for the blue ribbon, it can seem more daunting than if you're just out here growing things, trying to get a few things that taste good. Once I started concentrating on the little things, controlling the things that I can control, and ignoring the things I can't, we started doing a little better. And part of it is just being observant. It looks green from a distance, but when you walk in here and you see what looks like DAP, bug droppings, then you see the bugs, then you need to come out here with some kind of mechanical system. And a lot of times I use Dawn dish soap, but I see a couple here. And you know what? The bug dance, the little twist, that takes care of them right there. They're gone. Didn't put any chemicals at all in the ground. I can control that. Kick a little mulch on there. There are a few rules that every gardener does try to abide by. And the biggest one is, when is your frost dates? Your first frost and your last frost. Zone 7, right in the middle of the United States. Yes, I get several months of freezing weather. I get several months of 100-degree weather. And how can you control something like that? Well, I found with a thick layer of deep mulch, you can moderate the temperature. There's some foliage that'll take that first frost without any problem. And like sweet potatoes and okra, they're not going to take that frost at all. But that foliage does not mind that 100+ degree temperature. And with moisture, you can't control the rain, of course, but with a thick layer of deep mulch, you can slow the evaporation. It also moderates the temperature of the soil, keeps those roots good and happy, and it keeps your peppers producing. Now, I'm all the time being asked, what kind of spinach is that? What kind of beets are those? What kind of radishes? What kind of lettuce? I have no idea. I've planted a lot of stuff, even this year, that would sprout and get eaten by something, wouldn't sprout at all. We'd come back behind them, we'd just plant again. If I don't mark things and they don't come up, I'm not disappointed. Now, I can't control the germination rate, but I can control how often I plant. And by continually planting, you've got a much better chance of success. You would think I'd be out here with some kind of shovel digging all this up, but it's a cover crop. It's not hurting anything. It's actually helping the life in the soil. The more I've been learning, the more I know the ground wants to stay covered. It's about the life in the soil. Roots feed the life in the soil as much as mulch feeds the life in the soil. So this is going to give me a really good test this year. I've been experimenting. We can control these by putting a thicker layer of mulch on, but I thought we'd just go ahead and let this grow, continually feed that life in the soil. The more life you have, the better your plants are going to be. You can control the life in your soil. If you till it up, you're going to kill that life. You're going to disrupt it. And I've been trying to control the critters, but right here's a great example of that groundhog. He's been back in here and he's just about eaten this entire patch. But what I do know is what we want off of this, yes, the leaves are edible and we do enjoy those, but what we want is under the ground, and that groundhog's not messing with that. So aside from making it look a little shabby and me not being able to catch him, control what you can control. Don't let the other stuff worry you. Here's an easy thing to control, your space. If you have no space, you can always grow in a container like we've done here. And But if you have a little bit of a garden space, go vertical. It triples your growing area. Beans, cucumbers, cantaloupe, peas. There's a bunch of different plants that really like to trellis and do very well. And talking about germinating and not germinating and what you can and can't control, when you get some volunteers coming up, especially if it's a superfood like an amaranth, just let them grow. You'd be surprised at what you're going to get. Now, we had a little bit of technical difficulty yesterday. Had a wonderful episode explaining all kinds of things about mystical stuff that did not record. No, but I did have some technical difficulties. And you know what Saturday is? Saturday is when we go to you and celebrate what's going on in your garden. Mike and Linda, they've been using the deep mulch. They had some trouble to begin with. They started controlling what they could control, and look what their garden's producing right now. Mike, Linda, the gourds, the hot peppers, your cowpeas, that looked wonderful. And another long-term contributor to this channel, he decided he was going to control what he could and ignore the rest. He started putting deep mulch in this very small urban garden. He started using trellises, and once he starts planting, he's continued to plant. And he's had his garden going for 2 straight years. And he's got his fall crops coming up already. He had a little trouble this year, but he controlled what he could. He ignores the rest and continues on. That's what you really have to do. And to be successful, you just keep improving one little thing at a time. And look where Walter's at right now. Walter, this is wonderful. Walter, thank you for sharing your ups and downs. Weren't those great? You know, for the last 4 years, I've been going to people's gardens, celebrating their successes. Once in a while, helping them with their failures. But this is where we get ideas, motivation, and inspiration to come out here every day. And I invite you to become a member of this channel. There's no commitment. All you have to do is send in a photo now and again and let us see what you're doing in your garden. I guarantee you all other gardeners would love to help out and see what you're doing and get some ideas. And right here is a great example of controlling what you can. We've got a little bit of lettuce coming up here. We've got our turnips. They've got our second true leaves. They're doing great. The radishes are doing wonderful. The carrots are gone. Something got in here, took that whole batch of carrots out. And I'm going to think it's grasshoppers. We've had some grasshoppers hurting us this year, along with that groundhog. But you know what? That just means we're going to replant. And I know as we start getting towards the end of summer in the northern hemisphere, a lot of people don't really want to show what's going on in their garden. They don't think it's good enough. Here's the deal. You're not competing against anybody. You're just trying to make a little improvement every year. Now, I've made such an improvement. I've got all of these ghost peppers. I've got all of these Carolina Reapers. I've got these scorpions. Now, these ghost peppers, they're hot little buggers, but I sure do enjoy them. I've been eating these every day. Thing is, make you challenge. You get this video to 1 million likes before winter, and I'll eat one of these Carolina Reapers. The whole thing, one bite. But with that challenge, you gotta help me. You gotta share this video around. You gotta help promote my channel a little bit. I'm not really asked for anything. I keep getting told I'm not promoting myself well enough. I just thought my story might be interesting to people. It might help them out a little bit. But yeah, if you want to see me get really red in the face and sweat, get this video to 1 million likes before the first day of winter, and I'll eat one of these Carolina Reapers. Oh, look at that. I want to let these go a little bit, but we got peanuts everywhere. And you know what? We succession planted with peanuts to keep the life in the soil around our tomatoes, which worked out pretty well. But we also missed some when we harvested last year, and we got volunteers coming up everywhere. So that ought to be fun, and I hope you join me for that. You can do this too, and if you want to learn more about the deep mulch, click that link right there, and I'll meet you right back in the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.